Welcome to Conscious Living Collective and Happy New Year. It's so good to be back. I almost forgot about my introduction for those of you who are here for the first time. So, what is it? It is a transformative journey in consciousness with a community of like-minded people, which is you. And my name is Tomek. I'm a scientist, teacher here on Insight Timer, and transformational coach. And I'm happy to be here. In this live session, we blend the latest in the scientific research, the deep wisdom of mindfulness, and the art of fulfilled living. As always, this is an invitation to have your own direct first-hand experience and emerge on the other side of this live event with a renewed sense of purpose and well-being. Hello, 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 and Happy New Year to all of you. I can see that the members of my wonderful, wonderful patron program that have been accompanied me for the past, I think, 5 years now are already here. So I want to acknowledge you. Hello, Caroline. Happy New Year to you. Very good to see you here. Hello, Parvana. Hello, Anne. Hello, Diane. Who else I can see here just based on the icons? Hello, Sandy. Hello, Gwendolyn and Gloria. All very good to see you here. And today's topic is one that is only natural at the beginning of this year. It's all about New Year's resolutions. And for most of us, this is in plural. But I want to make it very simple and only introduce you to one New Year's resolution that I also want to embody throughout the year. So let's get started. In case I missed introduction or I missed my warm welcome to anybody else, Joanna, Austin, Linda, I can see a lot of familiar faces, and this is beautiful. This is the nature of this live event, that we are gathered continuously renewing our intentions, or as it happens in today's live event, New Year's resolution. One time only. I will not come back to it for the rest of the year, but you will see that the theme of Conscious Living Collective is togetherness, and I will include that in our live event. So how are you? How have you been as you have been passing from 25 to 26? Is everything okay with you and your family? I'll be curious to know if you wish to share in the comment section. Okay. So, as you may know, I have taken a break from Conscious Living Collective for many reasons. One of them was that I was traveling. And this is always, for me, a reminder that things are happening slightly differently in different parts of the world. And this time I was traveling around Vietnam, and a wonderful and a beautiful country that I was privileged to explore. However, what I have noticed is that the life here on the Sunshine Coast, Australia, is slightly different. And I'm pretty sure that most of you live in a part of the country, part of the world, that conditions of living are very different to that in Vietnam. So I just want to bring that to I want to invite you to reflect right now before we jump into the topic on your current situation. And what is it that is actually good about your life? If you look at the world at large and what is happening, position yourself in it and consider your situation and see how most of us, how lucky we are to be here and to connect and to use this wonderful device of the internet to connect together. I could see in my travels, amongst many beautiful and adventurous things, that we don't all we not all have it that well. So I'm coming here to share that with you, that if you're sitting here in front of your device and connecting with all of us here, you are already a very successful person. You already must be sharing a lot of wellness, well-being, and wealth, as opposed to the many people around the world. So maybe that's the way to start, that we are already very well, and I'm very happy to be here. And that doesn't mean that we cannot enhance or improve our current well-being. But that starts right here, right now. And I'm here not to tell you what to do, but perhaps to ask you, what is the missing link in your life right now that perhaps you can, or a needle that you could move forward to make it slightly better? And for me, once again, in the spirit of Conscious Living Collective, is simply, for now, to be here. Because what is the nature of all the New Year's resolutions that we are so keen to take upon at the beginning of each year? All the New Year's resolutions are future-oriented and conditional. Think to yourself for a moment. Most of the New Year's resolutions, and the reason why they collapse so quickly, is because they rely on something that is to happen and some condition upon which you believe that your well-being will improve. And that is encapsulated in a simple sentence: I'll feel better when things change. That's the nature of New Year's resolution, or most of them, not the one I will suggest to you in a moment. So these places of our well-being are essentially at the mercy of the circumstances, some sort of outcomes, and sometimes other people. If we're looking for new, fresh relationships, if we want to change something in our life, usually that relates to something external. And maybe this is the key why in these times that externally feel so uncertain, so fearful. I think we can all agree that we live in times of global turbulence, which I do not want to elaborate on, but we are all aware of it. Any resolution, any goal that purely relies on the future outcome and some sort of condition will quickly collapse. So I want to ask you right here and right now, and feel free to share your answer in the comment section. What if the only resolution that truly matters is not about changing life, but changing how you meet life? What if the only resolution that truly matters is not about changing your life, but about changing how you meet life? And the follow-up question: where in my life am I postponing my well-being until something changes? And on that note, as you share your stories, I want to say that at the back of my mind, very often, there is this unconscious, lurking thought that the best part of my life is still ahead of me, that there's something waiting for me, or I am waiting for it to change, and then I will finally start living my life. But until that something, and in my case, it's very much the unknown. I do not know what that is. I give it away to the external circumstances in my mind for that one thing, which I don't know what that is, to change in order for my life to change. So how does it feel for you personally? Where in your life you are postponing your well-being until something changes? Or what is it that you are waiting to change in order for your life to feel complete? And I'm looking at your wonderful comments here. Yes, Caroline, it's been a long time. Danilo, and I apologize for mispronouncing your name. Nice to meet you live. Austin, I want to change the love I express to myself to match the love I give others. This is very much in the vein what I want to introduce to you. So hold on to that thought, Austin. Parvane, be more present of now and not fear about what may happen. One of my favorite sayings is, I worried about many things in my life that never happen. I don't know whose quote is that, but the saying nevertheless is very appropriate for now. Karen, amidst all the craziness in the world, I'm focusing on the positive. Sandy, hello, Sandy. Sandy is waiting. By the way, we have two Sandys. Welcome to you all. And Sandy says, waiting to feel more at peace. So I think this is in vain what I try to convey to you in terms of waiting for something to happen that I very much resonate with. That there's something, an unknown or known, that we are waiting for. But if we rely on the external circumstances and consider what's happening in your neighborhood, if you are waiting or rely on that situations to change, you might be waiting for a long time. And I think that's the one thing I want to change. I do no longer want to wait until my life improves. I want to recognize what is happening in this very moment. And that comes with one sentence. If there's a one thing I invite you to take away from today's event, is this: well-being is a state, not a situation. Well-being is a state, not a situation. And to make it more concrete and tangible, however your state of being is in this moment, it determines very directly the very next second, the very next moment of your life. So think to yourself and feel to yourself right now that how you feel right now determines the next moment. And for me to share with you my direct experience to maybe help you fill into yours, when I am holding this space during the Inside Time Alive event, I experience many things. One of the things that comes to mind is I haven't done a live event for a long time. I feel a bit rusty. And that in turn may bring more thoughts of stressful nature, a bit of anxiety, a bit of fear. And then when I recognize how I feel in this very moment, I have a choice. Do I allow this state or those habitual thoughts of fear, because we are fearful beings, that's the part of our nature, to dictate how I feel? Or am I able in this very moment, no soul time in the future, not without waiting for anything to happen, am I able to center myself in the state that I am and do not be determined by this as a situation? With the word life on Insight Timer comes a lot of information that comes from the past. Vast majority of it is being present, having fun, enjoying your company. But again, there are other of those thoughts that maybe are not so positive. So ask myself, how can I center myself around this present moment? Is it my well-being at stake, or is my well-being determined by the situation completely? So the felt sense is that of stability, presence, awareness. And that's what I all invite you to attempt to connect with in this very moment. And one of the most important things also I want to share with you in this is my personal experience that has been with me for a long time, part of my meditation journey, but not determined by my meditation practice, just embraced by my meditation practice, is that every single time I remember to center myself in the present moment, in my current state, even, and this is the important part, even when I feel not great, when I start being aware of that not greatness, discomfort, the fact that I've been holding my breath, even in the discomfort and present moment, I'm able to find myself and meet myself so much better. On the contrary to that, if I allow my mind to do what mind does, which is look forward to the next thing, to the next situation, and give power to that future event to determine how is the state of my well-being. That's when I most likely am to go the downward spiral. And that's when most of my, I would say problems, but a lot of my challenges come from. Because the only point of power I have is right here, right now. And this is the only New Year's resolution you will ever need to come back to this, to recognize that your well-being is in the now. It's independent on the situation. It's your well-being. What's the sentence I want to refer to? The same one. Well-being is a state, not a situation. So continuously bringing yourself to the state of your being is the resolution from which a lot of your challenges can be solved. To make it once again more practical. Every time, even in challenging situations, when I come back to myself, come back to the state in which I am, the challenges that I'm facing are much more easier to face. I am not saying that coming back to the present moment solves all the problems and dissolves all the challenges. What I'm simply sharing with you and trying and inviting you to consider for yourself is that from the perspective of power of this present moment is the only valid place from which you can better, more efficiently face everything that comes your way, even the situations that are difficult. I'm not trying to say that just because you come to present moment, life will become peachy and everything disappears and you will get you will get what you want. I'm simply offering you a vantage point from which you are better prepared to face whatever comes your way. And this is a practice. This is a practice. And on that note, I want to say hello to Greg, who is embracing that challenge. And I know what your challenge is, Greg. Thank you for being here. And Greg, I can say without sharing any private information, Greg's challenge is pretty big. It's certainly, and being here is, I hope it will help you to face your challenge a bit better. So thank you for being here, Greg. Gloria, I just celebrated my 78th birthday and trying to not focus on my age. Happy birthday, Gloria. 78, 89, 15, these are just numbers. From the perspective, I'm going to use it. Thank you, Gloria, for saying that. I'm going to use you as an example of what I'm talking about here, about the New Year's resolution, the only one you need. If you look at your age and how you feel and many different thoughts that may come your way as a result of this number, you may find your own downward spiral towards a state that is not so great. But if you focus on the present moment, regardless of your age, you are right here and right now. Using joke that many meditators use, one meditator to another. What time is it? It is now. It's always now. The time is always now. One of my favorite things that I use during the meditations, many of you know my meditations. You cannot breathe in the past or in the future. You can only breathe right here, right now. And the good thing about breath is that this is your constant companion. Never goes away. It's always with you. Unlike the past and unlike the future. Even though you have taken million breaths in the past, it's very likely that you will take 1,000,000 breaths in the future. The only one that matters is now. You cannot save your breaths. And you cannot regret any breaths that you had. They're already in the past. They took you to where you are. Okay. So the only New Year's resolution that you will ever need is to stay centered in this present moment. And obviously that sounds easy, but it is a practice. Continuously bringing yourself to here and now, particularly in the difficult times. And when that happens, and this is the promise, when you find courage to continuously come back to the present moment, ground yourself in the current state, even changing times, your perception will change. Once again, you will find that it is easier to take on the challenges. without a burden of projecting into the future or dwelling on the past. And this idea is captured in a famous quote by Marcel Proust, famous author. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. So metaphorically, what I'm asking you here, what I'm inviting you here to do, is to come back to yourself and look through your own eyes in a new way. And this is the only thing that you will need for the rest of your life. Stay, as Abraham Maslow speaks through his theory of self-actualization. He talks as the first point, the continuous freshness of appreciation of the present moment. It is the first key to self-actualization, which is simply saying to get to know yourself better, be more authentic, and fulfilling your human potential. Developing new eyes every single time you remember, rather than waiting for some situations or some future situation or circumstances to make you feel better. Because if you're feeling bad right now and you wait for something, the politics, your economical situation to change, you simply don't know how long it's going to take. And this is very often out of your control. What is in your control is focusing, connecting with the current state. And what you find is the resources that are always at your disposal to move forward, even if they are challenging. So, seeing with new eyes, it's a metaphor for another metaphor for New Year's resolution that I suggest to you, only New Year's resolution I suggest to you today. And out of this, and this is just 2 more points to make today before we jump into meditation. When you develop the ability, when you continuously developing ability of grounding yourself in the present moment, again, meditation is the tool to achieve that. Meditation doesn't do it. Meditation is a tool of being present, a very important distinction. You find and you develop self-reliance. And something that flows out of self-reliance is your inner stability. And at that point, I want to say that self-reliance and inner stability does not mean isolation. Because I think for many of us, we are asked these days to be very self-reliant, but also independent. And that independence, when it's built on the false foundation, means that you are alone. You feel isolated. And that's not the purpose of this quote-unquote exercise. On the contrary, when you connect with the source of inner stability, when you start developing the self-reliance in the form of inner stability, you find that you want to connect more. You find yourself more open as opposed to isolated. You simply no longer need a condition or a situation to determine your inner state. And you do not rely your inner stability on some external circumstances. You rely on your inner resources. And in these inner resources, you find others. When you feel great, and this is my personal experience, every time I feel bad, the first thing that happens is I seek the isolation. I don't want to talk to anyone. And this is for me a symptom that I'm going downward spiral. So in this moment, when I find myself, you see the loop, the algorithm, when I find myself going the downward spiral, I discover the need for isolation and being alone. But when I short fuse that process and I come back to myself in this very moment and I see how I feel, I most likely feel a lot of tension in my body, feel that I'm lacking breath, I'm short on breath, I find myself slouching forward. There are many things I can do to stop physiological change. And from then, I'm seeking a new state that is not related, it's not determined by the external circumstances and the situation, but by my internal state and my internal resources that are always at my disposal. And when that happens, again, going the other direction, when I lift myself up through my inner resources, once again, I find that I want to connect with others. I have a deeper need to connect with others. Why? Because human relationships and human connection is one of the fundamental things in our nature. If you decided to incarnate in this crazy world, it means that you are someone seeking connection and recognizing the importance of connection, not seeking connection, recognizing how important connection is, that we come from the same source, from the same place. And we never been separate in the first place. But I think that's something that only can be recognized when you, again, discover and develop that self-reliance through coming back to the present moment. That's where mindfulness meditation come handy. These are tools to recognize the very thing I'm talking about. That's why, before COVID, I found a wonderful group of my patrons that some of you are here in this very moment with me. And 5 years later or 6 years later, we are still here. We are still hanging out together. And as a matter of fact, we're meeting every week over the period of 5 years to cultivate that connection. Recognize that we are one and the same when in present moment, and our togetherness just amplifies that very state. And how do I know it? Because so many of you keep coming back. You could leave and say, oh, I had enough of that. But there is a sense, the fundamental sense of togetherness that bound us together and help you to come back, not help you, and make you to come back over and over again. And that started with at the beginning of COVID. And what was the one thing that we recognize, or what was the one thing that COVID amplified, was the collective sense of loneliness and alienation. And in that sense, that was a positive thing because it helped us to recognize the one thing that we are missing, or help us to appreciate the one thing that we have in common by removing that during the COVID period. But by recognizing that and appreciating that, we came together. A very positive outcome. And this is also, coincidentally, one thing I brought from my travels. The sense that we live very different lives here and the other parts of the world. And we have a choice. We have a choice in every single moment, either, again, in the spirit of that New Year's resolution, to look forward to something to happen, to change the geopolitical scene, to change our financial situation, our relationship situation, or ground yourself in this very moment that connects us all. The present moment connects us all as well. The one breath connects us all together. And seek and develop self-reliance and seek the inner resources that are always in your disposal and rely on them. This is the invitation. So, in that very spirit, I want to invite you to meditate together. And meditation is not simply in this particular circumstances. I want you to recognize meditation as a tool of connecting with your inner resources. And like walking through a beautiful department store that's filled with wonders. And in this particular meditation, I will ask you to see, there is a piece of stillness. There is a spaciousness. There's another shelf with sparkling energy that is not external, but it's within me. It is a process, inner process of discovery. Seeing things that are already there, internally within you. Not the things that are somewhere out there according to your mind that is very conditioned. It's very different. The conditioning of your mind is very different to what it is. Karen and Parvana, thank you so much for your kind donations. Thank you for supporting my work. So this is it. This is what we do here for all the first timers. I think I apologize for not following all the comments, but I think Elizabeth was one of the people who joined for the first time. Very good to see you here. I hope that this is good, and I invite all of you to welcome Elizabeth to Conscious Living Collective. And as the part of every session of Conscious Living Collective, we will meditate together. We will recognize that on the fundamental level, we are all the same and we are seeking the same thing. And even though individually that might be experienced differently, it comes from the same source, it comes from the same place. And as always, I will ask Peter Helland, a wonderful musician, also here on Inside Timer, to help us establish the mood and create a stage for our exploration. So get ready. I will start playing the music right now. I will switch the screen to the meditation screen. Thank you, Gwendolyn. That's very kind of you. Take a sip of water if you have a glass next to you like me. Okay. Begin this meditation by connecting with your body in this very moment. You may still keep your eyes open to fully appreciate 5 physical senses that connect us with this physical world. And center yourself around the physicality of things, both the sensations that your body produces, and the experience that is facilitated by the space around you. And see for yourself if there's anything you'd like to change. Anything that in this very moment is in your power to adjust, that will help to experience your current state even better. For me, that usually entails resting my feet on the floor, feeling the ground underneath, feeling my sit bones, resting my hands in my lap, recognizing that I'm sitting upright in what I call a dignified posture, like a king or a queen looking at your subjects with kind eyes and gentle smile, knowing that we are co-creating this reality in this very moment. We are part of the same. And only now, I want to ask you to allow your eyes to close. And closing your eyes is an act of going within, of recognizing that the external world is just one layer, continuously changing landscape that is at your disposal, but does not determine who you are. Who you are and what you are is very much an internal affair that you are connecting with right now by turning your gaze within. And what you may find are different sensations, different state of being, and recognize that regardless of the judgment that your mind may produce, pleasant, unpleasant, good, bad, it is yours. And it is yours to explore. And unlike the external landscape, the internal landscape is yours to own. Always with you. And one similarity between external and internal is change. Change is the only constant in the universe, the internal and external. The internal wants to know itself by moving and changing. And in this very moment, I invite you to simply follow that fluctuation, the change, which consists of parts of stillness, parts of movement, parts of expansion, contraction. But amongst all these qualities, there is vibrancy, aliveness. And that's always there. Always there for you to connect with. The sense of aliveness that flows through everything, that informs all of your senses. And recognize the more alive you are, the more vibrant is the world around you. From the perspective of the mind, the external informs your inner state. But from the perspective of here and now, from the perspective of your awareness, the freshness of your appreciation through your eyes is how you see the world. Not outside in, but inside out. So I'll let you now to appreciate that inner landscape, knowing that this is what informs your life. And there are many things to explore. And as always, I'll be here by your side to hold the space so we can journey together. And I'll bring you back when the time is up. And now it is time to return back to your physical senses, taking all the inner resources that you connected with to inform how you look at the external world. So feel your feet, the surface underneath, how it gives you stability, centers you, and grounds you. Feel your entire body in appreciation of its beauty, how it carries your consciousness to connect with the physicality of things. Feel your breath moving in and out. Hear the sounds sound of music, sound of my voice. Add gentle movement by wiggling your toes, moving your fingers. Gently tilt your head to the left, feeling muscles in your neck. Tilt your head to the right, seeing how you inform that movement with your presence. Bring your head to the center, feeling the energy that holds you up in the upright posture. And let us all together take one deep cleansing breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when ready, open your eyes and welcome back. Thank you for meditating with me. That was truly wonderful. First meditation in 2026. I suddenly feel more aware of my inner resources of being here. Almost immediately, appreciation for your presence here comes to mind. Because as I said in the discussion part, when internally you feel connected and you recognize the appreciation of the inner resources, the outside world all of a sudden looks much more vibrant. It looks much more exciting. And that's what happens to me right now. But I want to ask you before we conclude, how did you emerge on the other side after this meditation? Is there anything you wish to share? Anything that you wish to continue appreciating after we finish our live event and moving forward? I would love to know. In the meantime, Karen, Gwendolyn, Angie, SJ, thank you so much for your very kind donation and supporting my work here on Insight Timer. All of you, I'd like to invite to consider, in the spirit of New Year and spirit of togetherness, checking my patron program, because so many of my patrons are right here, right now. Parvana, Diane, Caroline, Anne, so good to see you here. That one of the things that flows out of appreciation of the inner resources is the need for the connection, because connection amplifies what's already within you. It's just a fast track, and I love it. Austin, I have always struggled to feel connected truly and wholly to those around me, and you've created a space when I truly feel connected to like minds. That's a wonderful thing to experience, Austin. Thank you so much. I'm very glad that I could help facilitate space where you essentially recognize that connection, because the connection always has been within you. Eileen, very kind and generous donation. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Tosca. Big thanks to all of you for being here and co-creating the space of Conscious Living Collective. So those of you who are here for the first time, this is what it's all about. It's about appreciating the connection that is already there. We're not doing anything new. Diane, you start to realize when you leave the worry for the past and future, you're actually okay in the here and now. That is so true, Diane. That is so true. And I think this is on that note, I'd like to conclude our first session of this year. Once again, the only resolution that you need for the rest of the year and the rest for your life is that you already have all the resources within you. And the well-being is the state, not the situation. So, in the spirit of Marcel Proust, the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. I wish you connecting with the freshness of appreciation with this very moment, with your new eyes that you connected with. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, all of you, for being here. I'll leave you with Peter Helland and his music. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then.